The new Los Santos Drug Wars DLC is coming to GTA Online tomorrow, Tuesday the 13th of December. Let's talk about it and what my plans are going to be to cover it, car test, and all the usual good stuff. This video is brought to you by Broofy.com/support. Head to that link for all sorts of information on how you can support my channel, from links for direct support to referral codes, and even an article on things you can do to help your favourite creators. Okay, so the winter DLC for 2022 is the Los Santos Drug Wars, and honestly we don't know all that much about it, to be honest. We haven't had that much information in the various Newswire posts, which I'll link all of them in the description down below, but certainly less info than what we used to for really any DLC, but especially these winter DLCs, which tend to be a little bit larger in scale than sort of the summer DLCs. At least they have been for the last few years. We haven't even had a trailer for this one. It does make me wonder a little bit if there's not much to it, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. What we do know is that there's going to be more improvements made, like what we saw with the Criminal Enterprises DLC, such as being able to do casino missions solo, things like that. And it does say select custom weaponized vehicles will be usable in races. Will we finally be able to use the Ardent in Sports Classic races? I still don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, but that's going to be one of the first things I check tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. We also know that we're going to be getting new vehicles, as we do with every single DLC, one of which is going to be free with the Tahoma Coupe. That was what we're getting for free for hitting the goal that they had for the heists week. And it also looks like there's a new taxi and maybe a journey variant that's customizable. It also seems like the Brigade will be featured pretty heavily, but a new Brigade, not the old one that we can have that's a Pegasus vehicle that is probably forgotten about a lot of the time. It seems like it's going to be called the Brigade 6x6, and that's going to be the focal point of the DLC, where you can build an acid lab in the back of it. It's probably going to be sort of another MOC or Terabyte style vehicle. It almost feels like this DLC is looking like it's going to be a cross between sort of biker drug businesses and vehicle work, like what we see with the MOC and, you know, stuff in the back of the Terabyte. Although, honestly, a lot of the recent DLCs have felt like sort of rehashes or reimaginings of other DLCs when it comes to the business stuff, at least. But honestly, that's pretty much it that we know from official sources. We do have a few leaks to talk about. There might be a new entity, it seems, with no transmission upgrades, so it's probably going to be electric, and it's going to have HSW upgrades. So the Entity 3, obviously Entity in the game code is the XF, we've got Entity 2, which is the XXR, and then it seems like there's going to be another new version that's electric. It's kind of annoying. They could have just given the old Entity the HSW upgrades. I think that would have been more fun. But that's one of the new potential cars. Potentially 50 new garage slots, which would be crazy. That's, again, this is all leaks, so take it with a grain of salt, but we'll check it all out tomorrow. And obviously the usual fare of missions relating to the Acid Lab and the return of Ron, obviously the nervous Ron, Trevor's friend. Hopefully they're better paying than the Criminal Enterprises agent missions, although this is going to be one of those business themed DLCs, so hopefully it's going to be profitable for the business itself, but we'll have to just wait and see. We also know that this is part one of a two-part, as they say, epic story. I'm hopeful that that means that the summer DLC is going to be a continuation of this in some way and, build on it, but they could also basically be saying that the drip feed for this one's going to be horrendous and half the DLC is going to be held back for months despite being given to us in the files on day one. Again, we'll have to wait and see, because we'll see what's in the files on day one and what we actually have access to, but I'm hoping that they don't mean the second part of this DLC is just part of the drip feed rather than the next DLC is going to build up upon this one. Speaking of the drip feed though, as usual, I will do my best to get the info out as early as possible of all the cars added to the game which have been held back, when they might be released, their prices, all that kind of stuff. That's usually what I try to focus on when it comes to videos on day one of the DLC. As always, it'll be just one single video with all the info, so you can be best informed about how you're going to spend your money going forward. You know what cars are going to be coming in the weeks and months after the DLC is released. Hopefully the drip feed isn't going to be as bad as it was for Criminal Enterprises, but who knows at this point. Then obviously after I've done that, I will get to testing any vehicles released on day one. So we'll also be keeping an eye on the older cars affected by the tuner's flag changes, things like the Entity XXR, the Tyrant, all that kind of stuff. I haven't actually retested those yet because basically they're completely broken with the tuner flag changes, and I wanted to see how they'd handle them in this DLC. So we'll see if they're no longer as broken as they have been in the last few months, and then I'll do some proper retesting of those. Obviously keep an eye out for all the testing videos within the first few days of the DLC, but obviously show a little bit of patience. It's not likely that the testing videos are going to be out on day one. There's just too much to do on that first day, and obviously testing properly like I do takes a lot of time. Naturally, as always, it's all going to start with the usual stream on the morning on Twitch. I usually start at 9 AM UK time, so make sure you're followed on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bruffy1322 to be notified when I go live. There'll be links in the description and the pinned comment, or just head to my Twitch channel tomorrow morning. The DLC usually drops on Xbox first at around 10 AM UK time, then PS5 a few minutes later, and then PC always gets it last. On that stream, we'll go through everything and discover all the new stuff together. You'll see everything as I see everything. It's a longer form stream, a good couple of hours, because it takes that time to just explore everything at a natural pace. One final thing to mention before it all kicks off is that my car spreadsheet and GTAcars.net have both been updated now to be current and correct as of this DLC's release. So all new cars from the Criminal Enterprises DLC have been placed into their correct tier lists, and all of them are up to date with lap times and top speeds. Also, a few older cars have had updates pushed there as well after I've retested them. I'm likely not going to make a separate video about those, which is why I'm telling you about them here, but there's the Mariachi Tornado, Lifeguard and regular Speedo, which can now get upgrades in the MOC or Avenger, which obviously made them quicker with engine, transmission, turbo, all that kind of stuff. I haven't retested the Lifeguard yet, but the Mariachi Tornado is now basically the same performance as the regular Tornado when it's upgraded, and the Speedo moves into the A tier for the Vans class, such as its improvement in overall speed with its upgrades. It gets a much higher top speed, and it's much more fun to drive actually with the upgrades. Then there's also the iWagon, which was given its engine upgrade in the last DLC. Previously you weren't able to apply the engine upgrade to it, now you can. After retesting that, it's basically more competitive in the SUVs tier that it was already in. It's got a decent improvement in lap time by a few seconds, but it only improved in top speed by about 3 miles per hour, so it's still woefully bad on top speed. And finally, the Picador got a few seconds per lap quicker after applying the new spoiler upgrade that it got in the last DLC, obviously increasing its traction, so that was bumped up a tier in the muscle class as well. So yeah, check out GTAcars.net for all the latest updates. Keep an eye on this channel for coverage of the Drug Wars DLC. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on and all that good stuff so you know when testing videos go live and stuff like that. And obviously check out the Twitch channel tomorrow morning to see everything as early as possible. Thanks a lot for watching everyone, and I'll see you soon.